Eddie Gallagher, Navy SEAL Chief, and Morgan Murphy, U.S. Navy Captain. Okay, Eddie, this is crap.
Yeah, it is. Carl, I know this has been going on since I retired. It's not news to me. I've gotten calls from cadets that are going through Annapolis, as well as senior enlisted as they go through these leadership courses. This is the narrative they still put out about me, which is, straight lies. And the problem I have with this, right, is just how obtuse the Navy is being. They are continuing to divide trust between the enlisted and the upper brass leadership. And, the reason I'm getting these calls from these cadets and these senior leaders that are going through these courses is because all of them have read my book here, The Man in the Arena, which has the whole truth in it. I know this is my story, but what the Navy doesn't seem to realize is there are QR codes inside this book, which each reader can go ahead and look at all the lies, deceit, manipulation that the Navy did, the prosecutors did. It's all right there, which is why they banned this book from every Navy base and on Annapolis.
But Morgan, look, I had a similar problem when I was in the military. We were court-martialed for prison abuse. We were all acquitted. It was such garbage. And then the military leadership was like, well, just go back to work as normal. It's like, that is such a breach of trust between the guys kicking in the doors and the guys sending us in.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. If you look at what Obama and Biden did to our Pentagon, a lot of these courses that Eddie has found, they look like they were written not by the Pentagon, but by the faculty lounge at Yale or Princeton somewhere. Americans pay more than $1 trillion a year in taxes to fund our military and the VA. And they are right to expect a lethal fighting force. They want a killing machine. They don't want this DEI nonsense that's holding up our military.
Yeah. Well, Eddie is definitely not a DEI expert. Neither am I. But, all right, so I want to get to something that probably bothers both of you as much as it bothers me. And we know that the officer corps is teaching all this ideological garbage. But the other thing, the officer corps and the civilian leadership in some parts, formally, I think Pete's doing a great job, is really, they're really bad at for the last 4 years especially. It's incompetence and endless bureaucracy, which is the procurement process. Now, Pete Hegseth met with some contractors today, Eddie, to streamline this, and hopefully this will make the approval process for things better because, as you know, by the time something gets approved through the procurement process in the military, you can buy a more advanced version of it at Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah, this is true. This has been an ongoing problem in the military for a long time, Carl. You and I have gone through this. They definitely need to streamline that for sure. We want our best and brightest out there fighting our nation's enemies. We want to have them have the best tools at their disposal, not the 10 years ago tool.
Yeah, but Morgan, this is the same thing. Like, in 2009, I was testing the advanced weaponry that's just coming online now in 2025. Okay, why would it ever take so long to do this? Is it just people wanting to check boxes?
No, listen, I found out why. I spent 26 years in the Navy. I'm a Navy captain, but I went to work in the United States Senate as a national security advisor to Senator Tommy Tuberville. And what I heard behind closed doors in the Senate would disgust anyone that serves in the military. I literally heard one senator say, why don't we put 5 ships in the bill? And you take 2 for your state, and I'll take 3 for my state. And as a Navy captain, my head exploded over there. Like, did you ask the Navy if they wanted those ships? I know the ships you're talking about, and they're awful ships. Like, they're worried about parochial issues, how I can get more money and buy votes with the military's budget. And it's just flat wrong. But that's how a lot of D.C. does business.
Yeah, I remember when I was in the military, my first thing, I show up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at the team, just got my trident, and they're like, here, go test this weapon. And I spent 4 days freezing my tail off in December in Virginia Beach, testing this gun, dragging it across the beach, and I come back with 5 other guys who were just as tired as I was. This thing is a total piece of junk, don't buy it. It's like, great, we bought 4 million of them. I'm like, what the hell is Eddie, you know this.
Oh yeah, you can take the Scar Heavy when that first came out.
That was it.
And we were given that weapon 2 days before we deployed to Afghanistan, and that weapon that I was carrying misfired on a time when I needed it to work.
That was the gun I'm talking about.
Yeah, I ditched that weapon immediately after that, but guess what? Nothing was done. They still kept issuing it.
Yeah, that, when
Every major weapon system in the Pentagon, every major weapon system is over budget and behind schedule.
yeah,
All of
it's
them.
so dumb. And they always give it
The
to you
national emergency.
2 days before deployment, like Eddie. Eddie, Morgan, we appreciate it very much.